Okay, I'm going to give it just another minute to see who else might jump on.
Yeah.
So tell me something good. What's happening that's good in your lives?
Everything. I did a lot of last week. I did a lot of surprise and delights. So I hand delivered a millionaire real estate investor book to one of my people that I met when I was doing absentee calling. And he originally was going to list his home, but then he ended up wanting to just have a tenant. So I'm just keeping in touch with him, and I delivered him the book, and he was like super happy about it. So that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why my camera's not working. I just got this camera. I can use my computer camera, but
Hey Candace, it's working, but it seems like something's blocking it, or it's like pointed down. Because we just saw you for a sec.
Yeah, that was on my computer. That's not the external camera, but I can go back to that if needed. I wanted this one because I just got it. Let me try this. Maybe this port works better. Or maybe this port works better. Well, I'm gonna use it for my I'll use it for the speaker because it's got a speaker in it, and I think that helps you hear me better because that's one of the reasons why I got it. But I'm not sure why it's not working. Oh well. Okay, so what else is good? And I love that you did that, Drew. I think that's that surprise and delight. It feels good to do, and people are just they respond to it.
Yeah, he said something like not a lot of people keep their word on their commitments or something to me. And I was like, because I told him I was going to give him a book, and I ended up doing it the same day. So he was just really, really happy about that. But, I feel like we have a pretty good relationship now. So as soon as he's ready to list his home, I'm pretty sure he's going to choose me as his listing agent. He's always asking me questions about real estate and stuff like that. So I'm kind of like his at this point.
That's fantastic. That really is. You're just doing everything right. Melissa, you are too. I know you're testing strategies out. You're testing strategies for, have you done your Google ad yet?
You know what? I did run the Google ad and I got like an insane amount of clicks. But I want to talk to Sam because I didn't get any like leads out of it per se. So I don't know what I did wrong or like maybe what I did right, but I need to do better next time. So yeah, I'm going to talk to Sam about that, but I actually, I'm going to talk to them probably more tomorrow. But so I live in an apartment complex, but I'm going to talk to the management about doing a like rent versus own, like little free seminar for the residents.
Yeah. And so I was talking with somebody yesterday in their one-on-one and talking about creating, to identify a niche so that you're not just marketing to everybody all over the place, because it's not, if you do that, then you're in competition with every other agent, right? But if you specialize and you pick a niche that you can master, it doesn't mean you can't work in other areas. It just means that that's your specialization. Like the rookie of the year who built now $1 million business doing open houses and has the big event open houses. And by the way, I'm going to talk with I've got to discuss it today with somebody who's going to help me with the open house, but either Saturday or Sunday, I'm hosting a barbecue down on my listing at Moreland, primarily for the seller. And also I'm going to have a videographer there to get some exposure for the home. So if anybody wants to come and be part of that, you're welcome to. It'll be just probably hot dogs, but I'll get organic ones. And I'll get chicken and beef for those of you who don't eat beef. So you're welcome to come, and I think it'll be a fun time. But anyway, so for you, especially living in an apartment complex, to put out bandit signs on Friday afternoon that say, "Did you know can be more affordable to own than rent? Zero down payment programs available. Call Melissa Guy." at such and such and such a number, and then you put those out on Friday evening where people can see them driving in and out of the apartment complex. Put them on the easements, right? Not in the apartment complex property, but put them on the easements and then pick them up on Sunday night. Those are called bandit signs, and they are okay. If you ever notice on the weekends, on starting Friday afternoon or especially Saturday, you'll see 50 million little signs out that point to new home communities. They actually hire people that do that, but you can certainly take advantage of that.
It's a great idea. Yeah, thank you.
I got that from Aubrey, by the way.
Melissa, I saw Shelter Mortgage has a own versus rent, like a flyer as well. I don't know if like you can end up sending something to somebody. Like they have that too.
I got in touch with them. I actually got a co-branded one. So thank you. But yes.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah, so just get some little signs made up, and you can do that not just in your apartment complex, but it usually where apartment complexes are, there tend to be more than one different development. And so you could do it over several different developments. Then you get to work in your area, which is great. So
yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, anybody else want to share something good that's happened?
I do want to say one more thing.
Yay, I love it.
I actually bought one of those 15-foot flags with open house and stuff on it. It's ginormous, but when I put it out there for my last open house, I want to say like 40 to 45% of the people that came to the open house was off that sign. It's huge, so I put it on the side of the road. It's big, huge 15-foot flag.
Cannot wait to see that.
But it's definitely worth it. So
I cannot wait to see that.
I had 25 families at my last open house, and that's probably the most I've ever had.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I have to say that so there, when we talk about AIDA, and remember if you haven't heard that formula before, it's an old marketing formula. And AIDA, it's an acronym, and the A stands for attention. You have to get someone's attention. And that is attention, because how many times do you drive by an open house, you see a couple of lame balloons, right? Tied to a sign, and you're like, yeah, whatever. But when you see a big flag, it's like, man, I gotta check that place out. That's incredible.
My sister ended up driving by it, and she was like, I was laughing because your face was just like wobbling in the air. She thought it was hilarious. But I was like, hey, you saw it, didn't you? So
I love that.
True. I was looking at those signs too, and I honestly think they're so cool. And you're right, they're just different. So when someone looks at that compared to just a regular sign, like, you win automatically.
So
good job.
Proof was in the numbers, because that's the most people I've ever had at an open house. So
yeah, fantastic. You're going to be that guy that's up on the mega camp stage saying, I built my business on open houses and I'm a millionaire real estate agent. Here's what I did.
I'm trying. And it's working. So I got a lady. She gave me a verbal commitment that off that open house that she's going to be ready she's going to contact me January, February, because she's not exactly ready. So, just in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Aubrey says, if somebody says they're going to wait until January, February, cut that time in half and then contact them, reach out to them at the half point. So.
Yeah, I would probably get her permission and say, would it be all right with you if I send you information about what's going on in the market so you can be really well informed by the time you're ready to buy? And that way you're staying in touch with her and staying top of mind.
That's a good idea.
And make sure you ask her how she prefers to be contacted. Would you like me to email you, text you, or give you a phone call once in a while?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Good job. Yeah. All right. So this morning, does anybody else have anything they'd like to share? I love this. This could be the whole huddle for me, the good news that you guys are doing and all the action steps that you're taking. I mean, you have no idea how it feels to see you all actually taking steps that I know are going to make you successful. It's just really, really rewarding. So good job.
I'll share my thing. So like I took the home show tickets and I offer them to my neighborhood, like on Facebook, and be like, hey, anyone wants to go to the home show at, blah, blah, blah this weekend. And I've had like 8 or 9 like people request it. And it's not in terms of like the numbers for like we have probably 380 houses in our subdivision. but it's like, okay, well, they want it. And like, I offer them the preferred vendor probably like last month. So this month it's like the home show. And this one lady, she's like, oh, you're so sweet. You're always helping, contributing something. And I'm like, bingo, like, okay, they know, and offering that service. And I talked to one of our neighbors across the street and she wanted some, and she's like, oh, do you have some extra? Like, I think one of my coworker wants to go. I'm like, oh yeah, I have several extras, And so I gave it to her. I was chatting with her last night for like half an hour, and she said her parents are looking to move here, and she's like, oh, I'm going to probably need your help in the future. They're looking for a ranch. It's like the housing market's really hard right now. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'd be happy to help. And so I'm actually having breakfast with her. I'm trying to meet someone for breakfast in my subdivision like every week. So next week it's her turn. So like just kind of building those relationships, and like I'm seeing it, like they're noticing that like, oh yeah, it's Fabiola, like just walking around and like noticing me, I guess, without being like blatantly like, hey, I'm a realtor, come list with me or come buy with me. So
You will own that neighborhood, and you will
I
be
think
the realtor.
slowly and surely. Yeah. I don't like being like, they don't like the letters. People are already saying like on Facebook, like, do you get the letter? Like I just tear it up, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. And I didn't want to like, like send the postcards. I just, people here don't like it. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's so you're starting to find out. And I think that's one of the most important things we can do is when we decide to service a market, to interview them. And, for instance, if you're working with your neighborhood, maybe send out a survey and say, what's the most important thing that a realtor could do for you? What kind of information would you like to have? And give them a letter where they get to be interactive, and give their opinion. People love to give their opinions, and you'll gather some valuable information from them, if that's one of the touches you decide to do.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea. Thanks.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
I comment on that? Because just
Absolutely.
my experience, I think the more that you give, and you don't ask for anything in return, their barriers slowly break down, and then you can ask for something. But I like how you're doing, where you're just giving them, and you're not asking for anything in return. And I think that's a great way to go about
Thank
it.
you. So
Yeah.
I did have like a little, I made a little, I guess a little like thing to enclose with it, like a little handout. And I said like, send me a picture of a trend. And I'm like, you don't have to, and I'm like, when I see them, like, you don't have to be in it. You could just be like, oh, I love the chandelier or whatever. And send it to me. And I gave him my my phone number, and then I'll share a Starbucks. So it's like, I'm kind of trying to play this game with like having them to communicate back. So like, let's see how that works. So.
Smart. I think that's really smart.
You all are doing the huddle this morning. I don't even have anything I need to say. I'm serious.
Yeah,
I
no,
have one.
Fabiola, that's amazing.
It is. It really is. I just, and and I love that you all are sharing how you're doing things, because that will give everybody else ideas on how to do in their apartment complex, in their neighborhood, in their open houses. I mean, you're creating some strategies that a lot of people aren't doing, and that's what makes the difference, and that's what's going to what I know is going to happen this time next year. It's just going to be incredible. I'm going to see you all up on the awards every time that there's an award in the month, and it's just you are becoming the leaders, the next generation leaders, which is amazing to watch, and to be I just have to say, I know Bill feels the same way because we talk about it, but I'm really grateful to be in business with you all. So, all right, anybody else want to share anything? I'm serious. I can do
Something.
social media content in a few minutes.
I feel like my confidence is definitely growing, but my referral base is growing as well. It is just like sometimes I'll have a day where it's like, okay, I'm going to go market to this person. I'm going to go do this. And the referrals start coming in. It's just like, okay, let me go ahead and service that one. And I'm getting comfortable with not allowing people to waste my time. And before, that was something that is just like, oh, well, it's going to be okay. I always found an excuse for doing what it was that they want. But now that I have less time, it's just like, until you do the steps that you need to do and zero in on what I'm asking you, like I have a couple people, it's just like, oh, well, I want to see houses here. I want to do this. No, 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 no. remember that questionnaire that I sent you? The more I know about you, I can find your house within 5 houses. And I actually believe it, and I know that I can, but I'm not allowing them to be all over the place, which is allowing me to be all over the place. So it's just like, if you can't commit to what I'm asking you, we can't move forward. And I'm comfortable not, there's always going to be somebody else. So it's just like I'm not chasing it as much as I was before, to where it's just like, okay, this doesn't work out. My phone is going to ring. And when it doesn't ring, I'm still going to do something to always actively keep me active. So I'm liking the growth. I didn't think I was waiting for this day for forever. And I feel
Wow,
like
that's
I'm still on a
awesome.
lower level, but I'm getting there.
I'll say Miss Ebony's glowing now after all them transactions. I see
I
you.
know, that's awesome. Such a change.
You're killing the game.
I'm
love
trying to. Your
I love
mom
that
is
you said
awesome,
that.
okay? I love her. Like, that is my sister, and you can't tell me no different. So you better not do nothing to, look, I'm gonna come after you.
Wait, I just like to say, so Ebony, I don't know if everyone saw, like, on Ebony's Facebook post, she had posted up a poem that she wrote. I think it was just powerful, so powerful. Thank you, like, Ebony, for sharing that.
Thank
So,
you. I
I'm
try
gonna
to
go
be my
there.
authentic self.
I love that. And I have to say that I'm so glad you said that, because it is so easy as a newer realtor to let people. I think you all are too young to remember Gilda Radner in Saturday Night Live, but she did this character where she was a brownie, and she just literally would be in her room with her brownie uniform on, bouncing off the walls. And that's kind of what I think about when somebody calls you and they're like, I want to go see this home in that area, and you're like, well, you told me you wanted to be in that area over there, and then we just do it. And I'll tell you a story, and this is a true story. This was when I was taking Train the Trainer. We had to share a personal story that illustrated the 6 personal perspectives, which is part of Keller Williams training. And what I shared was that when my husband and my husband used to be in real estate as well before he retired, and I would go show homes, and he would call me around 6 o'clock and go, when are you going to be back? And I'd be like, well, I got 3 more homes to show. I'll be home probably about 9 o'clock. And our process was very different. And I finally learned the one time he was right, that I would do his process, because what he would do is he would say, this was back in the day when we could preview, he'd preview 5 homes, and he'd tell the people, he'd say, I'm going to show you the home you're going to buy first, and then I'm going to show you 2 more homes for comparison. And he would do that, and they would buy the first home because it ticked all the boxes. This is everything you told me that you wanted, and this ticked the boxes. We had more inventory, so we could do that. But he would be home by about noon. He would be writing a contract by about 1 to 2, and then the rest of the afternoon was his. And he would, figure out what he was going to do the next day, maybe an hour of planning, previewing for the next day, and then that was his process. So we were neck and neck. He beat me by just about maybe 1 or 2 transactions. We were neck and neck for transactions, but the difference is that he had control of his day, and I just let people say, oh, I want to see 10 houses, and I'd be like, okay. So I had to learn to not be so accommodating. So I love that you're learning that lesson early on. I sit there and I think we've got one life to live, and we get to choose how we spend our days, and we get to make our priorities of how we spend our days, and to be in control and be the guide and the leaders that we are, and helping people. We have to guide them sometimes and not let them just pull us around like we're on a leash. I mean, it's really important that you've learned that and shared that. I thank you for that.
I'm glad I learned it, because it
Me
was
too.
rough.
It takes a, it
I
takes a couple. It takes a couple interactions though, because I also learned that as well. It's just in the beginning, like you said, it's like anything possible because you're new. You just want to do it because you know that that's what you have to do, and eventually you'll get to that point where it's like, okay, I'm not dealing with the ridiculousness anymore. Like because I had a person that was so about Alpharetta for like 2 weekends straight. I'm showing them homes in Alpharetta, and they're like, oh, well, maybe we'll do Duluth and Lilburn. And I'm like, hold on now. Like, you were so stuck. That was your like, one of your main things was being in Alpharetta. Now you want to go to Duluth and Lilburn. What do you really want? Before we start going to look at these houses, let's figure out what you actually want. Let's think about it before we're just running around again, looking at houses just because you want to see all the houses on the market. So
And you know what? They'll respect you for that. They will, people will respect that that you're actually a business person and then you're in control of your business. And I think a lot of times what happens is for people, they don't, they don't think about, it's the nature of humans. We don't think about what somebody else is giving up to be with us. We just know that we want to do what we want to do. And if this person is willing to open those doors for us, then, I'll go look at houses. I mean, if I weren't a realtor and I'd found a realtor, I'd go look at houses all over the city just because I like looking at houses. But that's not necessarily the best use of their time. And very few people realize that you're spending time away from your families to show them homes. I think it's a big fun outing, and that, and I portray it all the time that, oh, I love what I do. So they think that I'm just would
Having Charlie did.
rather be with them all day on Saturday than with my husband. I mean, it's funny. So
Like, if
thank you
I
for bringing that
had
up.
a showing agent, I would love it. Like, and I used to think that I liked looking at houses. When you look at so many, whatever, like everything else but that. So if I could have somebody to tour for me, that's where I want to get. Like, that's my goal. Like, I don't want to do that part of it. Like, let somebody else do that part. So
So very honestly, that's an opportunity. So part of our job as growing leaders is to create opportunities for people. That's part of what a leader does. So when there's a brand new agent who would love to be, either shadow you one time and then do that a couple of times, or, maybe for a month or two, and then you show that, you help them understand what you expect out of them showing the house, what their comments, the kind of attitudes they should have, and you develop them. That's creating an opportunity for somebody who would love to do that, and then it's a win-win, right?
I
So
think I struggle with, and sometimes like I want to go in the group and ask for help, but you know how, and I hope this doesn't come off wrong. Certain people in certain price brackets, and when you've made a certain amount of money, they look down on newer Asians as if they're minions, to where it's just like, okay, they're comfortable doing the grunt work. They're comfortable getting $15 or $20 to show a home. And I've always, like, even when I've needed help showing, I started, and you can ask anybody, like, I'll start at one house, I'm going to give you $50. I'm going to give you $65 or whatever it is, because I value your time. And we all took the same test to get the same place. So part of me not asking another agent for the help that I actually need is because I don't want them to think that I'm looking down on them, because that's not what it is. And the only reason I feel that way is because other people have made me feel that way. They
oh,
made me feel small.
see, that's a shame, because I don't think of it like that at all. I think of it as, I remember being a new agent, and I would have anything anybody asked me to do so that I could learn, I would have done. And I felt like it was just a part of my growth. I didn't feel like I knew I was a new agent. I mean, there's no shame in being new. It's like brave to try something new in my book. To be a beginner when you could just do the same old, and to step out and take a risk and be a beginner, it's something I think is very brave. So I applaud new agents, and I hate that somebody made you feel like that, because
Yeah.
that's not right.
Also,
It's like people.
let me comment this, Ebony. Anybody that's asked me to show a house for them, they've also asked me to do an open house for them. So I built a relationship in the beginning by showing the houses, but now that's brought me open house opportunities. So it's like when I built that relationship with that agent, they gave me more and more opportunities. So
Absolutely. And it's more of, not that I mind, because I didn't mind. It was never about the money, because I never mind showing the house. It was more of the ego that proceeded in the conversations, because I'm like, 15, 20, $50, that's not making or breaking me. Like, you could have asked me to do it for nothing and I still would have did it, because this is for me. But
Yeah.
when I feel like, it's just like you're cutting me short, or this is top agents. And I'm telling you, and it's
some
different
of them,
ones. I'm like, look,
some of them key please joints. Some of them key please. Have you ever looked at them? They'll be like all the way on the south side and then all the way up in Swanee for like $30. It's like, yo, you're expecting me to drive all the way down to South Atlanta and then drive all the way up to Swanee for $30? Absolutely not. That's not happening. So
exactly. It's disrespectful.
I understand why you're saying that. Yeah, because that does seem kind of disrespectful. But I would, if it's somebody that you know and somebody you respect, I would do
I
it
don't. I
because
never
it
mind.
gives you more and more opportunities than just showing homes at the end of the
Well,
day.
and
Absolutely.
I think it's, I think it's also, I love that you're saying to be respectful of somebody's time. And oftentimes what I'll say, and I don't have a lot of buyers right now because I mostly focus on listings, but oftentimes what I'll say is, hey, if it's in this range, it'll be $30, but if you have to drive over there, it'll be 50 or 60, something like that, because that's, it's covering the time and the gas money. And that's, and we probably should have some sort of a standard, but so that it's not so subjective. And I'll say one more thing about those top agents is that I continually listen over and over to high performance habits. That's my go-to because I always get something from it. And the chapter that he's on right now is he's counseling a guy that everybody doesn't like in his company because he's just so superior. And what he says is the becoming superior in your attitude where you think that you're better than everybody, or you say things like it's lonely at the top, or all those kinds of things, that's a precursor for failure. And your path is going to go like this, and then it's going to go like that, because you cannot sustain success without a team and without other people helping. And so I think having this conversation now is going to create, when you all are top agents, that you will remember and not be those superior agents and not treat people any differently. Because the only difference is that, I mean, I don't know, it's not right. We're all doing the same work, right? Just some are doing more of it. So thank you for bringing that up. Anything else on you guys' mind before I get into social media, or we can just take it a different direction? I'm cool with that.
I'm cool.
Okay, great. I really appreciate you bringing up all the things you brought up this morning. These are.
I was gonna say, Candace, everything everybody's kind of thrown out today has really helped. So
Yeah.
I'm good where the discussion's headed.
Okay. Do we want to talk more about just being newer in business and what it looks like, or do we want to go into social media?
Doesn't matter to me.
Do we have time to go into social media?
We do. It's going to be
Okay.
short and sweet.
Oh, cool.
So these are just okay. So these are just some things that I would say is when you're thinking about creating content for your social media, salesy is the kiss of no engagement. So you want to provide value. You want to share positive. So here's some different areas you can work in. You want to share positive statistics and news. So for instance, you could say, I had somebody call me yesterday, and she said her client had contacted her and said, people are saying we're going to have a 20 to 40% drop in prices. And she goes, how do I respond to that? And I said, well, we've got some great statistics around that. You can dig into Chartmasters and show what the trends are and how long it took for the market to correct. And my response to him would be, you know, part of my job as a realtor is to stay on top of trends in the market, because the market changes daily, really. And it changes hourly, and it changes monthly, and it changes it just changes all the time. But what the experts are saying and what everyone is expecting is that our rate of increase for home prices is going to slow down. But nobody is expecting that the price of homes, like if you bought a home today for 300,000, that next year it's going to be 250,000. So that's kind of what happened in 2008 for those of you who are in business. Um, the people lost equity in their homes, and that's what he experienced. So he's very fearful that that's going to happen again. But when we are in our team meetings and we get chart masters and those kinds of things, it's we don't have the loans that we had then, where people were getting loans that should never have gotten loans. The banks were really predatory lending laws were created after that, because the banks were just loaning money to anybody, whether they should have gotten a loan or not. And so that's why there were a lot of foreclosures, because people just couldn't keep up. And then the the equity prices happened. It was just crazy. But right now, what's happening, if anybody asks you that, and you could post this on social media, is, we've had a tremendous run of month over month price increases. But thankfully, our market is going to balance a little tiny bit. It's going to take a long, long time. Like Aubrey says, we need 30,000 homes to make it a truly balanced market where it's 6 months of inventory. And that's not going to happen anytime soon. But our rate of increase, and we're already starting to see it, those of you who are out there, you're starting to see that it's taking a little longer for homes to sell. A home that normally would have gone under contract in May in a day with multiple offers has maybe takes a week and maybe 2 offers instead of 30, right? Or in some cases, they're sitting on the market for a little longer because they've got some issues, like my house on Moreland Avenue. It's on a busy street, so it's taken a little longer to sell. It will sell. The other home that sold down the street sold in 69 days, so it's not like it's going to take 6 months. And there was a market where it could take 6 months for a home to sell, and we might be getting back there in another couple of years. But anyway, you can start sharing positive statistics and news. And when people see a positive statistic, they tend to trust your brand more. They'll like positive stats, and they'll engage and comment on them. You can also share and repurpose user-generated content. And I want to see if I can find this so I can share my screen.
Oh, I got a list.
Hey, Candace, I had a quick question for you.
Yes.
That thing that you're doing this weekend, would you be okay with us possibly filming some videos ourselves for social media?
Love that. Oh my goodness.
I've had this idea because I think Fabiola was talking about this in the team meeting yesterday, but I myself have also previewed some Zillow homes and like open door homes to kind of see what's going on. And like, I just had this idea of like these videos of buying a house with a realtor or selling with a realtor versus selling with Zillow, and like the condition of your home and how it sits.
So creative.
Especially because that's like a brand new, well, they kind of did that whole house, right? It's pretty much brand new. They did everything.
Yeah, the exterior, he didn't put on new siding. He kind of scraped it and painted it.
Okay.
But the inside is, it's a 1920s house, so it's got some quirks, but it's a cool house.
I was gonna say, I just want to see that backyard in person.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So come on out, and we'll have barbecue. We'll have fun. I love that you want a video. Please do. That's a great idea. I love your concept of comparing why you should sell with the realtor. That's a big difference, because Zillow certainly will not hold a barbecue for their homes. Okay, so I wanted to share this with you. This is about repurposing this is called R&D, rip off and duplicate, but repurposing. So here's a blog on, this is a top agent in Atlanta. And this is kind of what she does. So you could go in here and look at top agents, what they're blogging about, and then you could repurpose it, make it yours. Don't plagiarize, but these are, I think, some great ideas, and it's eye-catching because she's got pictures with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, she's got something in there about radon. What's a pre-foreclosure? Why are there listings online that aren't for sale? And I know what that one's about. That one's about that Zillow isn't keeping up with the market as fast as we do. But anyway, the website, if you want to go here, there's a whole bunch of them. You could look up Sarah Sloan. You could look up any of the top agents in our office and see what they're doing. Jamie Simpson, Dustin Kimberly. You could go on there and look up what agents are talking about, and also go on their Facebook pages. So that's info at buysellliveatlanta.com. Okay, let me go to, this is where I'm getting all this from. I want to be real transparent that I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this, but I teach this all the time. But I thought this was a good article, and this is on Grin, and it's create content for social media. So the next one is, where was that? Okay, share and repurpose. The other thing is see what the people on your Facebook are talking about, and maybe write about that. So for instance, if I go to my feed, let me go to my feed, I can see that I've got some friends who are, if it comes up, okay, so this is a friend who's going to Uganda. So I could post something about travel, right? This is somebody who, she's a flipper friend of mine, and she's also the stager I use. So I could post something on flipping, and I know I'd get probably some engagement from her. She posts the projects they're working on all the time. This is somebody that I know, she's a lender, so I could post something on ideas for kids, or when you're buying a house and you have kids, important things to look for, that kind of thing. Okay, so let me get back here. Another thing you can generate content on, I like to think it's fun to ask questions sometimes. Where's my article? There it is. Okay. So I think it's fun to go on and create surveys. Who was it that said that the agent posts a picture of an ugly room every week at the same time? And you can pre-schedule those posts out, right? So that you don't have to, like if you're at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday and that's when you want to do this post, and you're not available, you can pre-schedule it so that every Tuesday a post goes out with an ugly picture and saying, I forgot who it was in our group that posted. Oh, it was Ryan. She posted a picture of a bathroom that had a pole in it. And she said, what kind of accessory, how should I label this accessory in this description? And she got so much engagement from that because people like to have fun. Another thing, if you know any influencers, you can leverage the influencer marketing. So they already have a loyal fan base on social media. So if you can hook up with an influencer, that gives you reach outside. I have a friend whose daughter's an influencer. I mean, she's like barely 20, and she gets sent all kinds, she gets sent purses, and people ask her to come speak, and they put her up in the Ritz and the Penthouse. I mean, she's just doing really well. And I keep asking him if she could come to an open house and market one of my listings. And he's like, yeah, I've asked her to do that for me and she won't do it. But if you can hook up on Facebook with one of them, here's I'm Hungry. The food ones are, I follow all the food influencers. I need to follow some real estate influencers. Campaign for social causes. I can tell you that the most engagement I have ever gotten is when I posted that my husband and I had COVID. People were just like rallying around. It was amazing. Or if you post it, sometimes if I post it, because I post gratitudes, that's my thing. I post gratitudes on Facebook. And I know that one time I posted that I was having a day where I was struggling. I got a lot of engagement for that, much more than for my positive things that I post all the time, which was really interesting to me. So I would say track what you're posting and see what kind of engagement you get, and lean into whatever it is that is getting the most engagement. But mix it up and try different things. If you have a social cause that you're passionate about, absolutely don't make it a salesy thing. It's just be passionate about it and be authentic, but write about it, because people can tell that and they will respond to that. Personalize your content. So this is kind of being yourself, telling your story. I think it's important to, like I shared a story on this one, got a little bit of engagement. I shared a story about a childhood memory that I was talking about with my sister. We had a beagle, and so my gratitude was for memories, great memories, and that someday, that we can make memories for people every day, just in our day-to-day activities. But anyway, it was all wound around this dog, and I had like 2 comments and 11 likes. So I think that's, sometimes just sharing your story is a good thing. Okay, where did I go with that?
What I noticed about social media too is that just because people aren't commenting and liking does not mean that they did not see it. Like it comes up in conversation later. It's just like, oh, I didn't know you saw that.
You are so right, Ebony. Thank you for bringing that up. And I told, because I've had people come up to me and say, I've been posting these gratitudes for a while now, and I've had people come up and say, I wish you'd compile these into a book so that I could give it as a gift, which is on my back burner. But it's people that have never even responded to anything. never. So you're absolutely right. Don't use a lot of promotional content. Help your audience. That's the golden rule. Help your audience. Don't use them, right? We're not in the business of using people. Offer freebies. Fabiola, I love that she was saying that she was going to offer a Starbucks card. But you could offer the millionaire real estate investor. I love that Drew said that, that he gave one away. You could say, I'm giving away a millionaire real estate investor, and see who raises their hand and wants it.
Drew actually gave one to me, like through him and his mom. Like, I need one for a listing appointment that I'm going on. And I was a little bit behind the gun. And Donna had an extra one. Drew dropped it off. I'm going on my appointment. It was supposed to be last week, but I'm going this week.
I
So
love that.
he helped me. And I love that because that is going to be the seal of the deal. I know it, of this contract for a listing. So thank you, Drew.
Did you get it in your mailbox?
What you say?
Did you grab it out of your mailbox already? Or is it still...
Yeah, I sure did.
All right, just making sure.
That's fantastic.
I got
That's
it.
just fantastic. So, and this is the last one, post social proof. And to me, that means if you have a client success story, you don't necessarily have to say what they said, but you can say, I got the sweetest note from a client today saying it's their 1 year. This actually happened. I got a sweetest note today from somebody, and it was their 1 year anniversary, and they were thanking me for being part of that journey. And it was actually a lot stronger than that, what they said, which was really made me cry. But I was able to share that I got a sweet note from somebody, which just illustrates that people like to work, people like to work with people. And when they take time to write a note, you can share that as social proof, right? So you all made the huddle fantastic this morning. This was just, this is good things to know, but I think what you all shared is so powerful. And I really thank you for all of that. And does anybody have any questions or any more comments about social media? Because we've got time. Or anything else?
Nope.
But I think that's I love the idea of posting on there. Have you read The Millionaire Real Estate Investor? If you're targeting investors or you want to create wealth for your clients. I know I'm sitting at a closing table on the 22nd, and they're going to walk away with close to $500,000 in cash. And I know, right? And and my first instinct is to go, how are you going to make that money work for you? Well, they've already got a plan. They're going to buy an Airbnb in South Carolina.
Cool.
But so I've got to get on the phone and find a referral. But anyway, sometimes when you sit at a closing table and you see $30,000, that's a down payment on a rental home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they may not have thought of that, because if you've read The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, one of the main concepts is that an investor mindset is very different from a consumer mindset. A consumer mindset says, ooh, I've got a closing. I'm going to go buy a new out. I knew a realtor. She was a top realtor. She works in luxury. And every time she had a closing, she went and bought a brand new expensive outfit. Well, she's still working. That's all I'm going to say. But that's a consumer mindset. Ooh, what can I buy? How can I spend this money? Whereas an investor mindset is, how can I leverage this money to create passive income so that I don't have to work for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And if we can help the people that we help with residential real estate understand that and help pivot them toward that, we can help them create a better life. So just an aside there. The hard part is to not look like, ooh, let me get my hands on your money at the closing. It's a very gentle kind of organic process. And I probably start talking with them, as I have this person, all throughout the transaction about, because when you take a listing, typically you do a seller net estimate. At least I do. I think it's a good practice. And if we were able to get this price, this is what it looks like for you, and then have the conversation around, you want to maximize that for them. They need to do a 1031 tax-free exchange, because it's
Capital gains
they
tax.
pay capital gains taxes because it was a parent's property. They haven't even never lived in it. So to do a 1031 tax-free exchange is the best route for them. So we talked about that a little bit throughout the transaction, and then he developed the strategy of, well, I'm going to I'm going to buy an Airbnb with my portion of it because it's going to 2 people. So
Do we have that net listing? That what you said, is that in the in the drive? Because the script that I'm working on, we talk about that, but it's just like we kind of jump over that because I'm not comfortable with it.
So here's what I do. This is one that I created. Oh, look, high fructose corn syrup. Here it is. Okay. So, so this is my template. This is my template, and you just change. I would probably, if I were a different person, do this in Excel, but I just put in repairs, closing costs, prorated taxes, prorated HOA, marketing fee. That's what I call the commission. Miscellaneous could be home warranty, could be maybe they're buying furniture, something like that. The mortgage payoff, if they have an equity loan, and then the transfer tax. And then I total up the red and I deduct it from the total of the, I deduct it from the total of the house. And so that wouldn't be 700,000, it would be something else. And then I show how I calculate the taxes. And then I show how I calculate the HOA. Sometimes the taxes are a credit. For instance, if the taxes are paid from an escrow account, then that would be a credit to the person, the seller. If it's November and they've already paid the taxes, there's going to be a credit for the remainder of the year to the seller. So it's not always a debit. But I'll be glad to share this. It's not beautiful or anything like that, but it you know, it tells
I
them
can
what
understand it.
what their net's going to be. So I'll share this in the I'll share this in the PC help, and
Okay.
And anybody can use it and tweak it. And if you make it better, please, like Donna made the daily success tracker better, please share it. And you could also put your logo up here. I haven't done that, but you could put your logo up there too. So thank you all for being on this morning. Is there anything else? Any questions?
No, I think I'm good.
Really appreciate what you all shared. It was fabulous.
I'm energized.
Yes.
All
Great.
right,
Okay.
go do
Have a
some
great
social
day.
media posts.
All right.
I'll talk to you
Bye.
later.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.